What's going on, guys? We're back at it with another episode on the PTGT V2. Today we're back working on the motor. We're gonna go ahead and get some more parts powder coated to start things out. The engine is where I left it previously, which is upside down with the pan off. We're gonna go ahead and flip it, hopefully not make a mess. Go ahead and take our valve cover off. We still need to figure out what we're gonna do with the balance shaft, as well as if we're gonna maintenance the oil pump at all. Probably not really necessary, but again, we'll figure out later on in this video, and I'll talk more about that then. Boys, we're back up here at the CNC shop. I have a valve cover, I have cam gears, we have a sandblaster, and a powder coating booth. Put two and two together. It is so cold out tonight, but we're still making it work. Back up here at Eli's shop, playing around with the sandblaster. We got it actually working really good now. He's experimenting with aluminum right now because we're gonna be sandblasting and cleaning up the valve cover and stuff. Get ready to powder coat them. I'm really excited to finally do something high quality with this, as well as something really cool with the cam gears, because I do plan to keep them exposed again. All right, she's going in, boys. I degreased it pretty good, so it's not gonna like get it all nasty in here. There we go.
Oh yeah, there it is. The real question is, what color are we making it? Mystic, and then the letters like red, or
I was thinking of white letters potentially.
oh yeah, that would, okay, yeah.
Or just keeping them raw, I suppose. All right, first inspection.
Dang,
That's bare aluminum
very
there, though.
smooth.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Wow.
And then if we took it outside and blew it off to get all the little like
Yeah.
dust off.
Yeah, dude, this is fire. One of the cam gears. Oh my god, dude, that's sick.
It's got a lot of dirt on it.
Yeah, but like, that's so cool. All right, the white is done and it's looking good. We just gotta let that cool, and then what are we gonna do?
Go get pizza.
Yeah, but what are we actually gonna do?
Powder coat.
Yeah, but what color?
What color? Black.
Mystic Midnight.
Mystic midnight.
Valve cover is almost done, and apparently it's looking good. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait until it's done, and then I'm gonna look at it. But I think it's gonna be good. We only got 2 minutes left. I haven't seen it yet. It's hanging in the booth, right?
Yeah, it's hanging in the...
Holy shit! Oh my
Sick.
god, dude.
It has like that little thing there.
Oh my god, yeah, but like still, that's
I guess you're not gonna be able to see it, bro.
dude, that is bussin'. Yeah, you can see the
Oh.
metallic. Oh, All right, boys, it is a new day. I'm back down here at the shop. We ended up staying up pretty late last night doing a bunch of different CNC and powder coating stuff. For now, though, I'm back at the shop today, and I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about the balance shaft because a lot of you guys have been asking me about it, and I've been wondering about it, and I've been doing some research on it, and I think I finally came to a decision on what I'm gonna do with it before I go ahead and put the motor back in. So in order to talk about it and really give you a visual, I'm gonna go ahead and flip the motor back over upside down so that you can see everything. So this whole thing right here at the bottom of the motor underneath everything is the balance shaft assembly. Basically, there's two shafts in there that are connected via chain and gear sprocket, which is behind this little shroud, to the crankshaft. And you can kind of see the chain and the tensioners there, but essentially what they do is counteract the harmonic vibrations that go on within the crankshaft and just make the engine a lot smoother. And it is extremely heavily debated all across the internet whether or not this is really a necessary thing to have. Well, it's not really necessary, but whether or not, I guess it's worth it to have it in the car if performance is in your mind at all. Some people say one thing, some people say the other. It's crazy. So I still don't know what to think about it myself, and I'm definitely not against the idea of removing this. And there's a couple of different ways that you can remove it. Basically, one, you can simply remove the chain, either cut it or delink it or whatever, and just have no chain there. So this whole apparatus stays in the oil pan. So all it really does is have a little bit less rotating mass on the crank. I don't know about a horsepower gain. It will make the motor a little bit more responsive in revs, so it'll rev up and down quicker, which I mean, I guess could be beneficial. Depends on what you're looking for. But another thing people do is completely remove the whole balance shaft assembly. The only thing with that is there is an oil feed where it pumps oil into the balance shafts, and that you will have to put a plug in. A lot of people will drill and tap it so that they can screw a plug into the oil galley where oil goes into it. But on top of drilling and tapping that oil port, also people will like to make some sort of oil tray for the bottom of the motor. I know there's other terms for them, but it's, you know, it's a tray that basically helps keep the oil from sloshing around in the pan and when you're taking corners and stuff like that at high speed. Because otherwise, if you're really shredding a back road and all the oil moves to one side of the pan or something, you can lose oil pressure for a second, which might not destroy your motor, but it could wear on it very quickly if you're losing oil pressure for small bits of time. Either way, though, there's not really huge benefits for someone like us that's trying to make, like, you know, between like 300 and 500 wheel with one of these. When you're pushing, you know, 450 plus wheel with an SRT4 or anything with the SRT4 platform, you're probably going to be doing some sort of mild build on the motor, like a built head and some things like that. And at that point, you might as well just get rid of that. And for that reason, I think I have decided that I am not going to remove the balance shaft like I had originally intended. I was originally planning to cut the chain while I'm in here, but honestly, at this point, I don't think that it's really necessary. And I'd rather not ruin a good motor if I can help it. Now, speaking of ruining good motors, something that a lot of people talk about is the guide and the tensioner for the chain up in there. They're plastic, you know, typical chain guides. There's cheap plastic involved that is known to fail over time. So with that in mind, I am going to attempt to change out the guides on this. I'm gonna have to order some, and as soon as they come in, before we put the motor back in the car, I'm gonna go ahead and swap them out. Other than that, everything balance shaft related is gonna be staying in here and staying the same. If you have any knowledge on it, let me know what you think of the decision down below, but that's what I'm gonna roll with for now. So that all being said, now that we're down here at the shop, we're gonna go ahead and start cleaning up the rest of the block of the motor. We're just gonna do kind of a basic cleaning, maybe paint a few things, but really everything's in good shape, so we don't have to go too crazy. And then we're gonna try to figure out what to do with our exhaust manifold and the crack that's in it, so that we have no more boost leak. Well, we just made some new discoveries. So, as you guys know, I had a small crack in the exhaust manifold right here on the upper side. You can kind of see we marked it with like black marker. It's a small crack, and I was planning to die grind it, drill it, and weld it in this video because I figured it could have been causing a small leak. But I went ahead and took our O2 housing off. As you can see, our O2 housing is right here. So over here on the back side, once the O2 housing is off, you can get a direct look at the wastegate flapper. So the arm on the wastegate connects to the little lever on the other side, and that in turn opens and closes this with the spring in the wastegate to allow boost pressure to escape into the exhaust. When you open this flap up and take a look in here with the light, you can see some nasty little cracks there. The camera's not even fully focused and you can already see them. I'll try to point an arrow. There's one to the left there and one to the right, and they're both sizable. And I'm sure once heated up, they both expand enough to leak plenty of boost past the wastegate. Yeah, that's been a problem. No wonder why we were having so many boost leak issues. So unfortunately, I was really looking forward to trying to like fix that and fabricate it and do it all here, but I think it's not gonna be worth it to fix this manifold. So I'm gonna have to figure something out, and in the next clip, you're gonna see what I end up deciding to do to get rid of this cracking hunk of junk. Well guys, things are going in a bit of a different direction now. So as you can probably tell by the title of this video, we decided to switch things up a bit for this season. So after finding the multiple cracks in my exhaust manifold, not only around the wastegate, but you know, just some on the exterior, it was clear that the car was going to be leaking a lot of boost through the manifold, and the manifold was just in poor shape overall. Well, we could inspect the whole thing, go over it, heat it up, and try to repair some of the cracks in it, which people do quite often. You know, how well is it really gonna hold up throughout the future? And as far as getting my hands on a new manifold, it's pretty much impossible to find one that's just the manifold. You pretty much have to get a turbo with the manifold, which costs you, you know, a few $100 at least. But that's the thing, I wouldn't mind spending a few $100. That was no big deal to me. But the thing is, my current TD04 LR, the compressor wheel and everything, is in perfect shape, and there's literally no reason to replace that, and there's really no way around replacing that without getting a like junk used manifold that could potentially have the same issues. So after doing tons of research, tons of searching, it began to look like just doing another stock manifold was pretty much pointless and was going to be a bigger pain and a bigger waste of time and money than anything else. So with that, I started to do extensive research about getting a new turbo for the car and potentially a new turbo manifold. I had originally thought of getting a big wheel stock turbo for the car just to see what we could do, maybe push a little bit more boost and mainly get more boost at higher RPM, because these turbos light up literally at like any RPM. You can start building positive boost, but they fall off in the higher RPM range, and big turbo just sounds like it would be perfect. We ended up going a completely separate route, and the secret to the sauce and the secret to the magic is right in this box. So without further ado guys, let me reveal to you the PTGT's new big turbo. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the new big turbo for the PT-GT. This was from Max Speeding Rods, and it has a T3 flange, which means that we're gonna be completely converting the manifold over to a T3 manifold, which I have right here in this bag. As you can see, very high quality cast manifold. We're gonna have no more issues like we did before, and this turbo is gonna be insane. As you can see, like, the cameras aren't even gonna do it justice. It is a big boy, and when I first pulled it out of the box, I wish I had recorded my first reaction, because first time I saw it in person, I was like, that is freaking huge. This is going to be interesting, and it's going to be an interesting upgrade, and it's going to be interesting getting it all fit back together and putting this in the car, getting everything fit up. But it is something that we are definitely capable of doing, and we're going to be doing over the next few episodes. So before I go too crazy, I know everybody's going to want to know the measurements, because the numbers are just fun to hear. I measured the stock turbine with a digital caliper that I got from Harbor Freight, so you know, somewhat accurate, I guess. The compressor wheel on the cold side was 43.3 millimeters on the inducer side, and then 56 millimeters on the exducer. So basically the outside of the wheel where the intake is, and then the inside, it fans up in size, and that was the difference in sizing, and that was the measurement. So 43.3 and 56, which honestly was bigger than I thought that turbo was, but not bad for a little Mitsubishi turbo, honestly. Our new turbo has an inducer compressor wheel diameter of 52.7 millimeters and an exducer diameter of 76, which the exducer versus inducer is a much bigger ratio compared to the stock turbo. The inducer is about 10 millimeters bigger, while the exducer is about, what is that, 20 millimeters bigger. So a much different spool pattern, but we're also going to notice a much different flow at higher RPMs. The exhaust exducer is a very similar ratio, but it's about 10-15 millimeters bigger on our new turbo versus our old turbo. We have 55.8 and 64.8 on the exhaust side, and on the stock turbo is 41 and 46.5 according to my measurements, which might not be the most accurate again, but we're still looking at about 10-15 millimeters bigger. So, you know, as to be expected. This is going to be a very experimental setup. Obviously, it's way bigger, and we're not going to be doing anything too crazy with the car. But again, the main thing is we're going to be able to boost, and it will push boost at higher RPM. So again, this turbo is a Max Speeding Rods turbo. A lot of you guys have probably heard of the brand. They make a lot of good quality and very affordable parts for a lot of stuff. Not sponsored or anything, but this was my choice just because of how affordable they are, and for how affordable they are, they have very good ratings. They're nothing crazy. They're not like a Garrett or Precision ball bearing turbo, but there's really no reason for that unless you are going to be pushing crazy amounts of boost and abusing the crap out of your turbo. There's really no reason to spend that crazy amount of money. From all of the experience that I have had with turbos for doing builds like what we're doing, this is honestly just fine. And people will pick on you, people will roast you on the internet for not buying a multiple $1,000 turbo, but nobody cares. So this turbo is basically, I think it's rated for like 21 to 22 pounds of boost maximum, and we're probably going to keep it around 18, 19. It depends, but that's kind of where I wanted to sit things at with the stock turbo. But the only thing is that turbo spooled super quickly, like too quickly, and you had to be really careful the way you drove and stuff. And this is going to be like probably perfect, hopefully not too laggy or anything, but I doubt that it will be. We will have it very conservatively tuned and everything. So another interesting thing about this turbo is that it is oil cooled only. It is not water cooled. I almost went with a water cooled variant, but I felt like there was no real reason to. And as you guys know, the stock turbos on these are water cooled. So we are going to be capping off the water lines and be running just straight oil to this turbo, which is going to clean things up a little bit, simplify things a little bit. This is also an internally gated turbo versus like an external gated turbo, or one that doesn't have a gate built in. Our manifold here that I got has a T3 flange and the ability to run an external waste gate, but I decided to just cap that off for now and run an internal gate, just because I think I just like the clean sound of having an internal gate, especially since the car is going to be basically straight piped. I feel like there's no reason to have a dump to get that extra added scream. So as far as sound is concerned, I don't think it's necessary. Everything is clockable on this, and there's also a removable back housing here for the exhaust side with a V-band clamp. So we probably will be taking advantage of the V-band. We're going to have to do some adapting to get the exhaust obviously to fit up. We're going to have to do some adapting with a lot of things overall, which I cannot wait to do because it's going to be a big learning experience for me and also for you guys for the videos as well. It's going to be really cool to see how we're able to make this work. We're going to need to get fittings and lines that work and fit up, and going to have to adapt everything up, do some fabricating, do a bunch of stuff like that to get this to fit like it should. I'm thinking right now about building like my own custom O2 housing basically. For the stock turbo, I have it laying right here, but there's a separate housing basically that goes below the exhaust manifold called the O2 housing. It's where the upstream O2 sensor sits, and it just serves as an adapting piece between the turbo to the downpipe. So basically thinking about building my own custom one. Maybe I'll even reuse the flange off my old one, and essentially adapting up a V-band end here with a pipe that curves accordingly so that we can go to our stock downpipe. It's going to be interesting, but we're going to make it work. We already have a spot for a wideband O2 sensor on our downpipe, so we'll be all set to go there, because obviously we're going to need a wideband. And that brings me to the next thing that I know a lot of you guys are going to wonder about, is like supporting mods and things like that. I don't think for what I'm planning to run this year that we're going to have to do a ton of supporting mods. It's really more of a wait and see kind of thing. And as far as the tune is concerned, I'm also not really sure exactly what I'm going to go with, but more than likely we're going to be getting some sort of Diablo Sport access port sort of thing so that we can tune things and monitor things accordingly, since the boost is going to be completely different. But another thing that I want to talk about is our transaxle situation. So as you guys know, my car has had the 4041 TE automatic in it, and I kept alluding to the fact that I wanted to do a swap. And I think that's what a lot of you guys were expecting to hear right about now, is that, oh, we're going to be throwing a Getrag in the car and we're not going to be using the automatic for this season. As of now, I don't know still, but I would like to swap it, and that has been my plan all along. I'm just gonna throw my cards out on the table now. No more secrets. I've been wanting to 5-speed swap the car for quite a while. And after going through the wiring, doing research and things, I am confident that we could easily do it. Probably within a week's time, we could get the trans in there, figure everything out, wiring related, get some shifter linkage hooked up, get the clutch pedal in there, all that stuff. Lines run, we could probably knock it out. I would do it now before we go ahead and put the motor back in the car, but I really just don't know if I can get my hands on everything that I need to get the 5-speed in there in time, because I want to be able to take this car out, have it running, so that at the beginning of like the car meet season here and everything, we can take it out and have some fun with it. And we got a lot to do. Not only do we have to get this turbo to fit on the engine, do some refreshing, get everything adapted up, get it in there, and then we also have bodywork and paint that we're going to be doing with the car and a bunch of stuff like that. And we have about a month to do that. It kind of limits me a little bit, but it depends on what I end up finding and what I can do as far as the transaxle is concerned. So if you guys have any recommendations of where I could find some of the stuff that I would need to swap the car, be sure to leave it down below. Hit me in the DM, send me an email, whatever. But that has been the plan all along. It still is the plan. Whether or not the 4-speed will go back in the car for a short amount of time at least, I don't know. But we have a lot of work ahead of us, and this is only the beginning. But I'm finally glad that we have everything sorted out. This winter has been just a wreck. Lots of hiccups, lots of terrible weather, lots of things that came up that I didn't expect. We also have had new projects. If you haven't seen our new twin turbo Taurus show project that we've been doing with our good friend Eli, be sure to check out those videos. I'll link them everywhere right now. In the next episode, you guys can expect us to be working on our PCM, basically relocations. But I'll give you a bit of a sneak peek. You can see our PCM is up in here. It is not in its normal location. We've been working on a mount for that and working out a plan for the wiring and everything. Anyways, guys, I think that's about all that I have to say and all the information that I really wanted to give you guys on the new turbo setup. You guys have a lot to look forward to as far as that. If you're curious about that, be sure to head down there, hit the subscribe button, and also hit the bell next to the subscribe button. That'll notify you whenever we upload a video so that you don't miss out on any of the action here on the channel, because we just got so much good turbo stuff going on right now, man. It's awesome. I love it. You can support us even further with all the links down below. Be sure to go check them out. And again, just thank you so much for watching this quick little video. You rock. God bless, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.
I'm just trying to be a father, raise a daughter and her son.
Oh my God! Why do you
be
listen to
their
that
brother to their mother. I don't think that's how it goes.
Be my cousin to their mother.